In the journey of life, there are moments when applause surrounds us and moments when silence greets our effort. If we build our discipline on applause, then we will fall when the silence comes. The praise of others is momentary. It does not nourish you beyond the moment it is spoken. Each time we look outside for confirmation, we offer our peace to something we cannot control. Validation from others is sweet, but like sugar, it fades quickly. When it becomes the reason we act, we become servants to shifting winds. A strong foundation is not built on compliments, but on clarity. To understand the difference, observe your own mind. Why do you train, study, or strive? If the answer is to be seen, your fuel will burn fast. But if the answer is to honor your own path, then your fire will endure the seasons. Inward reasons are rooted, outward reasons drift. A tree does not bloom for applause. It grows because that is its nature. The same is true for a disciplined human being. Your purpose must be guided by your own sense of what is right, not by how many eyes are watching. This is how strength becomes unshakable. There is danger in relying too much on admiration. It blinds you to self-awareness. You begin adjusting not to grow, but to please. Slowly, you drift away from your truth. Silence then becomes uncomfortable, because silence means no witness. But silence is the true mirror of intent. Ask yourself often, would you still act if nobody saw it? Would you still train if no one praised your strength? Would you still give your best if recognition was never offered? If the answer is yes, then you have understood something most people never learn. To walk the inner path requires honesty. No one can walk it for you, and no crowd will carry you forward. There is only you, your intention, and the action that follows. In this solitude, a different kind of peace arises, one that does not require approval. When you are anchored in purpose, others may come and go, but your movement does not stop. Their opinions, whether praise or critique, no longer direct your course. You walk because it is right to walk. You train because the path demands it. You grow because growth itself is the reward. The rhythm of life does not pause for individual sorrow or celebration. Seasons change, the sun rises, the wind moves the leaves, and the world continues its dance. Whether you are smiling in triumph or kneeling in pain, time does not stop to take notice. It moves, and it teaches without waiting. There is a quiet truth in this reality. It may seem cold at first, but it holds a lesson of great value. If the world continues regardless of your state, then your responsibility is not to expect sympathy from it, but to choose how you will respond within it. Many wait for the world to understand their struggle, to offer help without being asked, to comfort without being called. But that is not the nature of the path. The journey is not about receiving from life, but about meeting life fully, even when it appears indifferent. When pain visits, we must not believe we are entitled to rescue. We are invited instead to rise, to endure, to accept that suffering is part of growth and that no one else can carry our internal load. The world may not stop, but we can choose to move with it consciously. Success also brings its illusions. When we achieve something, we may expect lasting admiration, yet even the greatest victories fade from memory. The world moves on. Crowds disperse. What remains is not the applause, but the person we became through the effort. Understanding this truth creates freedom. You are no longer trapped by disappointment when no one notices your pain, and no longer addicted to recognition when you succeed. You are grounded in effort, detached from expectation, and connected to something deeper than circumstances. There is dignity in this solitude, a strength that does not rely on the presence of witnesses. You suffer, and yet you continue. You succeed, and yet you remain humble. In both states, you remain anchored because your compass is not external. It is carved within. To walk this path is to accept the nature of impermanence. Moments pass, people forget, emotions shift, and attention drifts. But your discipline, your character, and your movement remain in your hands, untouched by whether the world pauses to care or keeps moving forward. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you are speaking silently to yourself. That voice says, "I am worth the effort." Discipline is not a punishment, it is an offering. It is how you treat something you value. If you value yourself, your time, your energy, your path, then discipline becomes natural. Self-respect is not loud. It does not need to be announced. It lives in the small decisions made in solitude, when no one is watching and you still show up, whether to train, to study, or to reflect. That is the moment where respect for the self becomes visible. A person who lacks discipline often lacks clarity about their worth. If you see yourself as someone fragile, unworthy, or temporary, you will not protect your potential with consistency. But when you begin to understand your own importance, not in ego, but in truth, you begin to protect it with structure. The body is maintained through movement. The mind is sharpened through focus. The spirit is lifted through intention. None of these are possible without a disciplined approach to daily life. To wake up and direct yourself purposefully is the mark of someone who honors their being. There will always be temptation to delay, to escape, to surrender to comfort. But every time you resist that temptation, your foundation becomes stronger. You send a message to your mind, we do not abandon ourselves. That is how inner trust is built, and once built, it does not collapse easily. Some look for motivation to begin, but discipline does not wait for motivation. It acts because it is rooted in something deeper than emotion. Discipline acts out of respect, even when desire is absent. This is how progress becomes steady and how peace becomes consistent. You do not become disciplined overnight. It is a training. Each day offers a choice to reinforce the path or to step away from it. Even the smallest act done intentionally contributes to the pattern. What begins as repetition becomes ritual. What begins as effort becomes expression. The fruits of discipline are not always seen immediately, but inside you begin to walk differently. You begin to sit with yourself without shame. You know you are giving what is necessary, not for the world, but because you will not treat your own life carelessly. What you build through consistent effort outlives the noise of fleeting judgments. The opinions of others may change with the season, but the work you pour into life leaves a trace that remains. What you shape with your hands, your thoughts, and your energy becomes part of the world. Whether it is recognized or not, many invest their time trying to influence how they are seen rather than focusing on what they are becoming. But perception is unstable, shaped by bias, misunderstanding, and shifting emotions. To anchor yourself in external approval is to anchor yourself in sand. Only effort, applied steadily, gives form to something lasting. Legacy is not created by applause. It is carved slowly by repetition, by presence, by choices made when no one is paying attention. It is not made of statements. It is made of steps. Each act of responsibility, each hour of practice, each moment of integrity becomes a stone in the path you leave behind. There will be days when your effort is overlooked, dismissed, or even criticized. But none of that erases the work itself. The truth of what you build is not measured by how it is received, but by how honestly it was created. What you commit to with sincerity speaks long after words are forgotten. Do not underestimate the power of quiet persistence. While others speak, judge, or distract themselves, your dedication weaves something real. Even if misunderstood in the present, it becomes clear in time. Your effort does not vanish, it settles, it shapes. It leaves a mark that reflects your inner quality what matters most is not what they say, but what you know. At the end of each day, only you understand the weight you carried, the discipline you maintained, and the growth you pursued. Your effort becomes the mirror you can look into without regret. Some will misjudge you, some will forget you, some will never notice at all. But the seed planted through daily devotion does not ask for attention. It grows because that is its nature. One day, it becomes a tree that offers shade, fruit, or shelter, not because it was seen, but because it was nurtured in this way. Effort becomes a silent teacher. It shows you what truly matters. It teaches that opinion fades, but impact stays. It guides you away from needing praise and toward needing purpose. And in this quiet dedication, you begin to build something that cannot be taken away in moments of difficulty. It is not noise that carries you forward, but silence. Resilience does not shout. It does not demand attention, and it does not look for applause. It exists in the stillness between thoughts, where the choice is made to rise once again. Even when no one is watching, the strongest individuals are often the most silent in their struggle. Not because they are immune to pain, but because they have learned to hold themselves steady within it. They do not perform their endurance, they embody it. Their power lies not in how they appear, but in what they refuse to abandon. Resilience begins the moment you could stop, but don't. When all seems to push against you, and yet you keep walking, that is the seed of strength. There is no celebration in that moment, no comfort, no immediate reward, but there is clarity, and from that clarity, direction is born to continue when it is easy brings no transformation. But to move forward when everything inside wants to retreat. That is when something sacred awakens. It is in the absence of ease that the depth of your spirit is revealed, and the discipline of your mind is tested. There is no need to explain your resilience. It speaks for itself in your posture, your presence, your quiet determination. Every step taken through difficulty becomes a silent message to yourself. I will not be broken, I will not stop here. The world may not notice, but you will remember. Many think resilience means being untouched by hardship, but that is not its nature. True resilience means being touched deeply and continuing anyway. It means carrying the wound without becoming the wound, feeling the weight and still choosing to lift your foot toward the next step. You do not need to prove your strength by showing how little pain you feel. You prove it by how much pain you carry without losing yourself. Strength is not the absence of pressure. It is the presence of purpose despite pressure. Resilience grows in the space between pain and action, in this quiet decision to continue. Something internal solidifies. Each time you choose persistence over surrender, the foundation becomes stronger. And though no one may see it, and no words may be spoken, your spirit remembers. Not through celebration, but through continuity. When the intention behind your actions shifts from being witnessed to being awakened, the entire path transforms. Many move through life seeking to be acknowledged, hoping that recognition will bring meaning. But meaning is not born from attention. It is born from awareness. To act in silence is to observe yourself truthfully. Without the distortion of praise or expectation, you can see your habits, your motives, and your limits with precision. This clarity is not available when you are performing. It only comes when you are present without needing to be approved. Clarity arrives when the noise of needing to be seen dissolves. You no longer chase the reflection of yourself in others' eyes. You begin to witness yourself from within. This self-observation sharpens discipline, deepens understanding, and aligns your actions with something much greater than ego. When you practice in solitude, you remove the masks you wear for the world. You meet yourself without costume, without defense. In this meeting, truth emerges, not always comfortable, but always necessary. From truth, clarity is born, and from clarity, Movement becomes sincere, true growth is inward, and inward growth does not require an audience. The more you focus on doing the work for your own evolution, the more peaceful the process becomes. Distractions fall away, comparison fades. What remains is direct contact with your purpose, unclouded by the desire to impress. Doing something to be seen creates a tension in the mind, a constant awareness of how you appear, of how others respond. This tension becomes a cage, but when you act from within, you are no longer chained by perception. You are free to engage with life honestly. Clarity is not given, it is cultivated. It requires attention, repetition, and presence. Every time you act without seeking reward, you refine your ability to see your tendencies, your resistance, your truth. This vision is not glamorous, but it is liberating. Let your actions become a mirror rather than a display. Do the work not so others can witness your strength, but so you can witness your growth. In that seeing there is peace, in that peace there is understanding, and in that understanding there is quiet power.